Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Mad Science Lab podcast, brought to you by the combination of the Fantasy Football Universe and the Fantasy Football Advice Network. And I'm off to a great start because I got my show intro correct, which was kind of impressive considering I think I'm on my fourth consecutive show, and they're all different names. So I'm just happy we got through the intro, and I remembered what show I'm doing now after a mock draft and a combine review. We're going to do a 2024 Fantasy Football Dynasty Risers and Fallers. I got Jay with me. Jay, how's it going?
Hey, I am not too shabby. I'm actually alive. I'm awake. I had some coffee and I'm here. And we thought maybe you had the wrong time. Like, no, bro, you got another hour or so. So we're
If
good. We're good.
if I'm glad you're alive. We have a problem if you're not. So you got the
Yeah,
mic that I wanted to get, though. I can see you got the Rode Pod mic. Did you need a
yeah.
mixer for yours?
Actually, no, actually I have a Scarlet, but I actually downloaded a I think it's called the Sonar. And
Yeah.
it's actually a Steel Series or whatever it's called, and it actually amplifies this mic a lot more, and it actually
Oh, yeah.
sounds really great.
No, I just mean like when I originally was looking into getting that, but everything I looked into, you needed this and that and that. So I ended up going with the Shure that I can just
Oh,
straight in, which I like. It just cost me more, but I like that one. But everyone I knew who like all the guys on fantasy football today, they use one. But I was talking to them and they said, oh, they all have it plugged into a mixer and blah, blah, blah. And, because that's what CBS sent them. And I was like, wow, and I looked in like the mixer's $500 and I'm going, I
hell
don't
no.
know.
No, I have it all I have a downloaded mixer on my computer, that's it, and I just got my Scarlett for adjustments and boom, I mean, works totally
Nice.
fine. Hearing back like, I listen back to, like, everything I listen to if I need to do adjustments or anything like that, but yeah, I only paid, like, $100 for this mic, and I'm like, "Yep, I need something totally different." I had a different mic, and I'm like, "Yep, I need something way different." So, this
Well,
microphone
yeah,
worked
that's what I
fantastic.
mean. Like it's under $200, I think, on Amazon, and I liked it, and all the guys use it, and I said, oh, I'm gonna try this, and then I looked, and everyone has a mixer with it, so I said, I'm just gonna go to with the Shure mic because I can just plug it in and play. But all right, let's get into it. We are gonna start with your riser. Makes a lot more sense when I see the Tampa Bay Bucks hat on. It is Tampa Bay Bucks receiver Trey Palmer going into his second year. Wide receiver 72 last year, 39 catches, 68 targets, 385 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He is currently wide receiver 73 on Keep Trade Cut, wide receiver 94 on Fantasy Pros, 186 overall on Keep Trade Cut, and 233 overall on Fantasy Pros in single QB ADP. So it appears as if the general public is higher on Trey Palmer than the experts are, and that kind of caught me off guard. I was expecting the
Ooh.
experts to be higher on Trey Palmer, but they are not. What are you thinking about Trey Palmer?
Well, we started a we did a divisional preview, like, last year, and we gone through each division, so we went through all of them, and Trey Palmer actually just, um when we hit Trey Palmer, I kinda dug into him a little bit. He was a little he came from Nebraska, super raw talent, so that's what I saw from him, but I started hyping him up each game or each highlight I started seeing from him. He was he's behind Evans and Godwin, so I said, "Well, he'll be a riser." Yeah, I kept on bringing him up each of our segments we did. He might be a wide receiver 3 right now, but, it all comes down to what Evans does, if he stays or goes, and then with,
I think it
Baker there.
sounds like Evans is going to be gone. Is from what I'm hearing. It sounds like they're not signing him or
Oh,
re-signing him.
then so for me then, I would actually make him a wide receiver too, and I was looking back at I was kinda looking at some mock drafts from from NFL, and some of them had, them taking wide receivers, some of them actually had them taking, a defensive back or something along those lines, and I'm like, "Well, that's good for Palmer, he's been there a year." So he actually should progress, he should actually maybe for me, I think he would actually bump up a little bit more because they have, Tompkins there. I mean, he only had 4% of the shares, and I was looking at kinda just target shares overall, and that kinda explains my father too at the same time, and but if Evans is gone, then so this actually should bump up, Palmer.
Yeah, I like Palmer. I think he had potential. Obviously, if Evans is gone, that's going to increase it significantly. He's free. Like I'm looking, he's on Fantasy Pros in tier 8 of wide receivers. That goes from 75 all the way to 102. So that's what 30 something here. And like there's a
Yep.
lot of the second tier of rookies, like rookie receivers or third tier even that I don't really want, but there's a whole bunch of, if I exclude the rookies who are always the hot names, there's not a lot of guys I want here. Darnell Mooney, Zay Jones,
Eh,
Cedric Tillman, Tyler Boyd, Curtis Samuel. Like I don't mind Demario Douglas. I don't want
yeah.
Tony, OBJ, Michael Thomas. We haven't gotten to a good name. The best name outside the rookies in this 30-person list is probably either A.T. Perry or Demario Douglas. So I might take Demario Douglas over Trey Palmer, but like aside from that, it's either rookie or I'm taking Trey Palmer, especially if Mike Evans is gone. So
Yeah, and, Demario Douglas is not a bad name either, or A.T. Perry. I didn't really see a whole lot of him actually, within the offense a little bit. I would have to go back and kinda see what he did.
I'm a
I wasn't
Saints
really
fan, so that's
yeah,
why.
I wasn't paying attention to the Saints all too much, and who knows too if the Saints actually, draft another wide receiver too. So, I mean, it all dep I've seen mocks of them maybe taking a wide receiver and whatnot. I've seen Rome Odunze, maybe landing with the Saints too, and I'm just like, if that does happen, what does that make A.T. Perry? I mean, is he gonna be a wash? Is he gonna be bumped down the chart, So it's, I would, in that fact, I would stick with, Palmer just because he'll actually get more targets. I'm sure he'll actually be at maybe top 50, if that does happen, because they got him ranked as, at 72 right now. So, yeah, he should bump up a lot more than what he is now.
I like these guys in this range, this kind of player, whether it be Douglas, Palmer. Last year for me, it was Rashid Shaheed, AT.
Mm.
Like they're free. I can add them off of waivers. If he doesn't hit, I can put him back on waivers and it doesn't cost me anything. I
Yeah,
love
you can
the shots like this because it's free.
It is, and I mean, right now, you can actually go out and probably get Trey Palmer. I was looking at, he was only actually, he's only, like, 3% rostered in most even in Dynasty. He's only 3% rostered, and so he can
Yeah,
go out you can go out and get him right now if you need to.
I agree. That will bring us to your faller, Baltimore wide receiver Rashad Bateman. Going into his fourth season, he has been wide receiver 69, 112, and 85. Last year, 32 catches, 56 targets, 367 yards, and 1 touchdown. Fantasy Pros has him as wide receiver 72, wide receiver 75 on Keep Trade Cut. Fantasy Pros in 1 QB rankings, 173, Keep Trade Cut, 194. So he is in a similar range to Palmer. In fact, I think he's slightly above. Where is he in? Yeah, he is. He's in the bottom of tier 7, which I think is ridiculous because if you offered me Trey Palmer for Rashad Bateman straight up, I would have Trey Palmer 100 times out of 100. So that was not even close for me. What are you thinking about Rashad Bateman?
If I had when I have an opportunity to just come up and just trash the Ravens, I'll do it anytime, 100% all day long, just because I do not like the Ravens 100%. And if you ever come, if anybody has actually watched our shows, I always trash the Ravens just because it's a lot of times they lack wide receivers. They can't figure out what the hell they're doing with their running backs. They always got a trio of running backs. They always, flip-flop. So us guys as fantasy guys, we can't figure out who we want just because they're always changing their running backs out all the time. You know, just looking back at this, Trey Palmer and, Bateman, they actually had the same amount of target shares. Palmer actually did better on his target shares than what Bateman did with at 12% of the shares there. Even OBJ had just a little bit more target shares than what, Bateman did. And, just going back and seeing like, "Oh, we're gonna," it was earlier, it was, like, said that, "Oh, we'll try to get Bateman more targets this year." I was like, I do not believe that 100% at all. So, I mean, my fault this when I started up my dynasty league here, my dumb butt actually decided to draft Bateman. I'm like, "Why did I even draft this guy?" I don't even I mean, he's 62% rostered. He shouldn't even be that high rostered. And here's the other thing, he's actually going into his 4th year, so this is more likely a contract year. He'll actually probably play somewhat decent to try to get a contract somewhere. If not, I mean, that's what it comes down to. If I had the opportunity, Trey Palmer, I'll take him all day long just because he's on a rookie contract and he's actually in a better system, and he'll actually be like a wide receiver too in with the Bucks compared to Bateman. He's
Yeah.
kinda washed.
No, I'm not gonna lie. In his 2nd year, I drafted a whole bunch of them. The year he got hurt, and then during the off season going into last was it no, it was after his rookie season, he had the injury, and
Yep.
going into that off season, there was tons of hype, and they said when he comes back healthy, blah, blah, blah. And I sold high, and I think I got a late first, early second for him. And everyone said, "Oh, he's gonna be awesome. Why would you sell? Why would you sell?" And then he was terrible ever since. And I'm so glad I got rid of him. We're going to
Yep.
look here at the range he's in quickly. Once again, this is prime range here for rookie wide receivers. I'm going to just completely ignore them because I think everyone's taking the rookies. But like, he's in a range here. We've got Josh Palmer, Khalil Shakir, Bateman, Adam Thielen, Darnell Mooney, Zay Jones. Like, this is a range where I think I want the rookies. I don't really want any of these guys. I'd probably take Thielen if I'm a contender for one more year, but like,
Yep.
are you taking any of those or taking Bateman over any of those guys? I feel like Mooney, Thielen, Palmer, and Shakir all have some upside. Whereas what's Bateman's upside? Like they've been saying, oh, if he's ever healthy. Well, he was healthy last year. He played 16 games, finishes wide receiver 85. He had 367 yards. Like that's
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, I mean, as bad as the Panthers were last year, I would still take Adam Thielen over, Bateman, just because they still have the opportunities, even though they have a young quarterback, yeah, still learning the offense. So once he gets that, after he gets the rapport with maybe Thielen here this year, yeah, I would totally take Thielen over Bateman, just because he has more of the opportunities there. Then you think about, Bateman there, they have Andrews there and they have Likely, so if Andrew ever does go down, Likely is a number 1 tight end there too as well. So I mean, he's kinda in that mix of just being out.
You know what the funny part is? The guy who's in both the range of both of these guys, who I didn't mention, Xavier Worthy, just got the official time of a 4.21. They bumped it up. That is the combine record, 4.21, beating John Ross. He was tied.
Oh.
Yes, they just made it official, and he's the new record holder. And I think we would both agree that we're taking Xavier Worthy hands down over Rashad Bateman.
Yeah, I would. Even though I kinda gave, Xavier Worthy some crap on you. I'm like, well, I won't draft him, but, if I have an opportunity to, yes, I would draft him over, Bateman
I'll
for
take
sure.
2-1 over Rashad Bateman all day. So, all right, before we get out of here, you want to take a second, tell everyone where they can find you and your work.
Yes, I am Jay. You can find me on X at Autorhythm Fan. It's up there on the screen. We got YouTube. I do kind of have an Instagram account where I post some other individual just stuff for, just stats and photos and stuff like that that I put out as much as I can. We actually are on Twitch, and I'm trying to remember some of the other ones, but you can catch all of our audio stuff on actually Apple, Spotify, and Google Play for all you Android users out there. But yeah, we usually go once a week. Wednesdays right now in our off season, we're trying to cram out as many prospects for you guys in Dynasty as much as we can. So that's kind of what we're doing right now during the season. We haven't kind of figured that out yet. We're just cramming out as many prospects for everybody out there for people to view. We kind of break down right now. We kind of break it down. We give 5 teams, kind of give a layout, and then we just kind of break it down from there. And then I just kind of give you a nice little fantasy overlook of the player overall.
All right, sounds good. Thank you for joining me. This will conclude another edition of the 2024 Dynasty Risers and Fallers on the Mad Science Lab podcast, brought to you by the combination of the Fantasy Football Universe and the Fantasy Football Advice Network. For Aaron and Jay, thank you all for tuning in. And once again, Jay, thank you for joining me.
Yeah,
Check
no problem.
for the next edition of Risers and Fallers. I believe it's your buddy,
Yes.
because he's who I'm recording next. So
Yep.
take care, everyone, and I'll see you next time.